Welcome to the Ed O'Keefe Show. Transform your mind, accelerate your business, energize your body, and inspire the world. Now here is your host, Ed O'Keefe.
Hey, it's Ed O'Keefe, and welcome to another episode of the Ed O'Keefe Show. Today, I have something really special for you. It is actually an interview of my good friend Richard. Well, it's an interview of me for a book coming out, and they caught me in between doing a lot of things, one of them being home with my 4-year-old daughter. And but what I like about it was it's 20 minutes of just very the raw, like my responses to speeding success up. It's not a lot of I had no time to prep for this. The goal was to get content for the book, and I felt it was a really good raw conversation, and that I wanted you to see as a Ed O'Keefe Show listener, a Time Collapsing member, or whatever, however you may have stumbled across that, about kind of the reality of how I live and how I think. And there are strategies to speed success up, and you don't have to do it by other people's rules. You can kind of create your own. So anyhow, I want to thank Joel and Richard for making this available so I could share it on this podcast. And that's it. Dive in. If you like it, do me a favor. Please subscribe. And more importantly, share it. Share it with people. I think there's a lot of great stuff in here that can dramatically impact business owners, entrepreneurs, athletes, coaches, people that are really seeking high performance and really need some flips on the belief systems. So that's it. Enjoy, and thanks once again.
So what I started looking at was by studying high performers and watching entrepreneurs and super high-level athletes, the commonality that a lot of these guys have is that they are capable of identifying core distinctions that allow them to skip the line, so to speak, or another term that I use often and is to leapfrog to the top of whatever it is that they are trying to accomplish.
Gotcha.
For example, when I went into the dental profession as a dental consultant and dental marketing coach, I had zero experience in that. I had licensed the rights to a product, which allowed me to begin the positioning of authority. And within a matter of 1.5 to 2 years, I had the largest dental marketing coaching group in the space at the age of 26.
Wow.
Yeah, and so the big things there were, step one is defying all the traditional thinking that is kind of ingrained into us since we're little kids, and what that, I can walk you right through it.
Sure.
The biggest thing is what I call sequential linear thinking and stepladder mentality. And that starts by when we go to preschool, kindergarten, first grade, and we progress all the way through 8th grade and to high school, then college. And this is the beginning of what I call, the sequential trap, which is you think that if you follow the stepladder, you will come out the other end successful. And we know that that's just not true. I mean, 83% of the population is in a different profession or occupation than what they studied in college. If you polled people, I would say the majority would tell you that they didn't feel prepared to really gain skills in the real world to acquire wealth and to succeed. 76% of the population is living paycheck to paycheck, and that also includes high income earners, right? So there's definitely these traps that have been laid out for people to remain very average or even fail. And time collapsing flips all of those things and questions all those assumptions about getting to the top. The facts are less competition is at the top. The right people who are more likely to help you are at the top. And there are strategies to accelerate your growth in your business or personal life to become the top of whatever you want to do very, very rapidly.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a mouthful.
No, it was a good mouthful. That's perfect. It laid it all out. Are there any common strategies that reach across all professions in terms of getting to the top faster that you could name or something general?
Yeah, I mean, so I like walking people through a process of just there's a couple things. And so first of all, just being aware of what's possible nowadays versus just a few years ago. So when I started my second big company that took off, I started a health supplement company. And, strategy number one, well, let me see where I want to go with this. But what I wanted to share with everybody at the time, social media did not exist when I started both of those companies. Now it does. So our ability to get access and create deliverability and answer a problem at rapid speeds there's never been a better time,
Sure.
And so what I did in my second business was a health supplement company, and even though I like to take care of myself and I took supplements, I was no expert at all. And
Sure.
so strategy number one is that if you can lead with authority, whether you position yourself or someone else as the expert, you leap to believability and credibility much more rapidly.
Sure.
And so what I did at the time was I went out and just hired a doctor who had a vast knowledge and vast experience and knowledge for the anti-aging market. And we leveraged his knowledge for helping create the product that we created. And then secondly is, who are the key experts who've already done what you're trying to do in your space, and go hire them. I went out and hired a top consultant who had already done, been a part of millions of direct mail pieces to the supplement space. And so I went out and hired her, and from the get-go, she was running my campaign. So, you have time or knowledge acquisition, and you're trading that. And if you have the capability of financially trading up, so you instantly get experiential wisdom and knowledge acquisition, like today, by exchanging money, the only question you need to ask yourself is, well, do I have the money? If I don't have the money, where do I get the money? And make that happen.
Sure. Do you offer these people sometimes just a cut of the profits to see if that'll work, or?
I tend to not partner with people purely because of I like having flexibility of my own personal lifestyle choices and time, and also the ability to make the decision.
Right.
This kind of goes to something that I do cover in time collapsing, which is just really knowing who you are and what it is you thrive on. So I have a lot of friends that they prefer being in partnerships and acquiring those relationships, and those are really, really good strategies as well. You just got to know yourself. Like for me, having 7 children, I prefer having flexibility of life,
5 was enough for me. Wow.
You have 5, Joel, did you say?
I got 5, but they're all grown up, so that's makes it a little easier, except we got 2 in college yet, so after we get through that, yeah. What are your age ranges there?
It's 11. Yeah, they're 11, 10, 9, 8.
Wow.
4. And
Wow.
then we just had our twins just turned 2.
I'm surprised you have a brain.
Talk about time collapsing, right? We had
When does this book come out, by the way?
I'm actively working on it. Hopefully by the end of summer. The goal was mid-June, but I'm actually adding more.
That should be okay with the book. I mean, I want to mention it in the chapter, so and give you a little.
Yeah, please. That'd be great. That'd be
great. Can I just ask you a question? How did you get into this whole area? I mean, it sounds like you started really young and went really fast with it. So, what's your background?
Yeah. So, I was an athlete in college. Got my nursing. I played volleyball in college. And got my nursing degree and decided not to go into nursing. And I wanted to be an entrepreneur, And so for about 4.5 years, from the age of 23 to like 26 and a half, I struggled, was broke. But, the one positive thing that I focused on was I went from seminar to seminar to seminar and really went and got trained on accelerated learning, NLP, hypnosis, while coaching athletes and while speaking a lot and running seminars.
Wow.
So even though I wasn't making money yet, I was practicing these skill sets of acceleration and speed. And once I figured out that you could combine direct response marketing with solving a problem or providing a service, and I just dedicated my time to that. Well, then I was off to the races. And then once I had a pulse of it, I started figuring out the system. And when you start studying high performers, once they get that process, like the process of 0 to 60 miles an hour, or 0 to 100, they seem to not look back. They could replicate that. I like talking about replicate, like why try and figure it out on your own, replicate success, duplicate others' success, and then accelerate it. So I'm a big fan of modeling. Go ahead out there. Modeling and not shortcutting, but actually taking shortcuts. Like there's so much waste in our schooling system and our business system that I just cut all that out. So one of the things that I think that
the cops are here.
Yeah, I know you're in Chicago, man. So there's two components. Is that you have like what I call your personal superpower or it factor, and that I think takes a while for people to figure out. Right. Which is why they need to try a lot of things, and self-awareness, and there's a lot of tests you can take, but life experience and getting out there and doing a lot of trial and error is probably the fastest way, as long as you don't get stuck, to really figure out what you like versus what you don't like.
Right.
But once people figure out their personal superpower, so say that's like step one, and that's an always evolving thing. You have awareness of all these false beliefs and assumptions and rules that kind of are imposed on us, right? And then number 3 is just really identifying a good model or models at which then you base your strategy off of. Okay?
Yeah, like you mean based on other people who have a similar kind of it factor, whatever you're saying.
Yeah, or businesses. So exactly right. So you start looking at like other businesses and you're like, I want to create something like that, or this is what the top businesses have in common. We have a process that we take people on, how to model them, even like personal human behavior, and corporation behavior, market research, all the way to the core sales process. But once you have that and you're experiencing success, one of the key elements of time collapsing and acceleration is removing friction points. You want me to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so when a high-performing, like, say, professional athlete might call me to ask me advice that they're experiencing, like to help them perform better or just stuff they're dealing with.
Right.
The mistake most people think, or what most people are looking, and the same thing goes with businesses. We are in a very consumption-orientated society where
Sure.
giving them more is what we think they need.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, there's really two parts that high performers really need. Number one, removing friction. And friction shows up in a lot of different ways. It could be just mental blockages that they don't see. So you're challenging assumptions, belief systems, unconscious patterns.
That they may have learned but don't really work.
Yeah,
or,
like,
hold them back.
That's right. And you're just removing them for them. You're challenging their worldview.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is friction. So it could be emotional state issues. It could be team things. It could be that they no longer are, they have the wrong strategy for where they're at, right? But number two, which is probably more applicable, it's pretty much applicable. Both of them are applicable to people. Is number two is aligning their core, what they really want to do now, to their strategy, their new personal always evolving it factor. And what I found is that a lot of times people have certain life cycles. So it might be 3 years, 5 years, 7, 10, 12 years, where they really are passionate about doing something. And then what happens is over time, they're good at something. They might be world class at something, but they have lost kind of the passion pull for something.
Sure.
And so at that point, it's a matter of like, well, can you reorganize or reorchestrate this thing that you're doing in order to feed your passion, or do you have something else that's out there that you'd like to be doing? And so that's what I mean by aligning those parts and making sure they're all working together, you know.
Yeah, because when you have passion, you're more willing to, you know, make something succeed and do what it takes to make it work faster as well, rather than, you know, when you're just going through the motions at some point.
Yeah, and a lot of times, right, when we're younger or it's our first business, and age might not be the factor, but our first or second business, we're doing it because we have to. We have to make money. Like, we're just trying to do it.
Right.
And so we might learn skill sets that, you know, no longer serve us from a, hey, I want to wake up and go do this. So we just got to think differently about that.
Okay. That makes sense. Do you still do the dental thing, or is that over?
No, it's over. I licensed some marketing materials to some guys, and I still communicate with some of our old clients via the Ed O'Keefe Show, which is my podcast, and where we do some of our virtual mentoring and stuff like that.
And what's the name of your supplement? Just so I can, I just want to mention the company name.
Well, our company is called Marine Essentials. MAR.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that on the email between us or something. Okay. I remember seeing that name. And and anything else on this subject you think should be important to be put in this chapter? I think I probably have enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last question would be, like, when you lay out your plan and you create a step-by-step of what you think your key plan is, what is the opposite of every single step you would take in that plan? And so what I mean by that is, if someone says, well, we need to start spending money on advertising. Okay, well, what's the opposite of spending money? Well, the question would be like, well, what would we need to do to create an entirely referral-based viral business? Okay? You know, how do we increase our prices so that we make as much as possible on the first transaction?
Right.
And the opposite question might be, how do we give the product away free so we get the most amount of customers as possible and make that profitable? And so I like challenging the assumptions and just keep flipping whatever it is you think the best way is, flip it on its head, and you may find something completely, entirely more powerful and faster.
Yeah, even though it may seem counterintuitive.
Yep.
Yeah, I started self-publishing, and I found out that the biggest strategy right now is just to give away books, just to get people to start reading your stuff. So,
awesome, man, awesome.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that all sounds good, Ed. I'm going to get this transcribed and then work on the chapter. If you have anything else you think should be in the chapter, feel free to reach out and email me or whatever. And if I have any further questions, I will do the same.
This episode is sponsored by Marine D3. If you want 24-hour antioxidant protection while giving your brain, eyes, heart, and overall energy a jolt of long-lasting nourishment, then Marine D3 is for you. This is my number one top-selling health product that I've sold over 500,000 bottles, and right now, 80% of our sales come from repeat customers. Marine D3 can flood your cells with an abundance of new antioxidants and nutrients that fights and repairs damage done to the cells during exercise, everyday living, and the natural breakdown that occurs as we age. After 15 years of research and over $39 million spent on clinical studies, a renowned biochemist has found one of the world's greatest antioxidants. It's called CNLP, hiding deep below the ocean surface. I took CNLP, combined it with a little-known omega-3 called calamine, as well as vitamin D3, so that you can get maximum benefit all in one supplement. I'd like to give you the first bottle absolutely free. I just ask that you pay shipping and handling. At edokeefeshow.com/free bottle, I'll have a mini presentation that will share more about the supplement and why people are raving about it. Most importantly, it'll show you exactly how you can get it shipped out to you today, just for shipping and handling. This episode is brought to you by Dormant Forces Insider. If you would like monthly big business breakthroughs, insider marketing strategies that actually work, and mindset secrets of multimillionaires sent directly to your door so you can have them in your hands and you can apply them, then this is for you. Now, you can test drive my Dormant Forces Insider Silver membership for just 1 month free. If you love it, we know you'll stay with it and let it keep you in the loop of what's working inside my businesses and the other dozens and dozens of businesses that I mentor. Why would you go at it all on your own when you can use other people's experience than just replicate what works? Anyhow, right now you can test drive the membership for just $1 plus a few bucks shipping and handling by going to edokeefeshow.com/dormant forces. That's edokeefeshow.com/dormant forces.
And thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the podcast. You can find the show notes for this episode as well as all the other podcast episodes by heading on over to edokeefeshow.com. If you would, please go subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and leave a rating and review. Rating and reviews truly are the best way for you to show your appreciation for the show because they help more people find out about the podcast and decide if this is the one for them. So until next week, it's time for you to go out there, take action, and inspire the world.